A state representative is calling for the resignation of Ballad Health's CEO. This after a heated exchange between the two at the Kingsport Chamber dinner in February. It's our top story tonight. Good evening. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Casey Marler. Greenville State Representative David Hawk sent a letter to Ballad Health board member and ETSU President Dr. Brian Nolan requesting him to ask for Ballad CEO Alan Levine to resign.
News Channel 11's Clarice Shaley talked with Hawk and found out why he wants Levine to resign. Clarice?
In this letter addressed to President Nolan, Representative Hawk includes details from the conversation the two had regarding his confrontation with Alan Levine. Hawk told us he sent the letter to Nolan as a follow-up after not hearing anything about his requests. Hawk says it all started around 7 the night of the Kingsport Chamber dinner. Dinner was being served at the Kingsport Chamber dinner when State Representative David Hawk says Ballad Health CEO Alan Levine approached him and was upset with Hawk's quotes in a News Channel 11 story about Ballad from the day before. Hawk told News Channel 11 that he wants Ballad to be better about accepting constructive criticism.
He wondered how I would like it if he smeared me the same way I smeared him in my comments to WJHL.
Hawk says Levine wanted to know who had shared concerns about Ballad with him, but Hawk refused to give him names and during the exchange looked away.
Apparently that disturbed Mr. Levine. He took both of his hands, put them on my shoulders, and turned me to face him because my gaze had gone away from his face. They could not have missed that I was saying quite loudly, "You just need to walk away." It was very apparent I was attempting to diffuse the situation that had been created by Mr. Levine.
Longtime Ballad board member Keith Wilson says he was there that night and never saw Levine put his hands on Hawk during the exchange. Wilson said Hawk was red-faced and said expletives to Levine.
To my eye, the aggressor in terms of getting heated was clearly Representative Hawk. I did not see the same kind of heated response out of Alan that Representative Hawk displayed, clearly.
Hawk says he was shaken by what he calls bullying tactics.
Being a state representative, I've heard numerous stories, anecdotal stories of events just like this happening between Ballad Health and other individuals. I'm thinking to myself, if this just happened to me, someone who actually represents these individuals in the Tennessee General Assembly, it could happen to anybody.
Hawk says on February 7th, he met with ETSU President and Ballad Health board member Dr. Brian Nolan in his Nashville office to discuss his concerns. Hawk writes about that conversation and his concerns in his February 29th follow-up letter to Nolan, where he asks that Levine resign. In the letter, Hawk writes, quote, "Would you accept this outrageous behavior from anyone associated with East Tennessee State University in your role as president there?"
The demeanor should be accepting of all those who want to improve public health in Northeast Tennessee. Right now, the demeanor is to squash those who may be perceived as a competitor to Ballad Health in providing health care to our region. If we're going to improve health outcomes in Northeast Tennessee, we have to have all hands on deck.
In the letter, Hawk tells Nolan he does not believe Levine has the demeanor to lead Ballad Health into the future. When News Channel 11 asked Ballad Health to provide a comment, they provided Dr. Nolan's response letter to Hawk and said no further attention will be given to the request. In Nolan's response, he details he took time after the Nashville meeting to speak with people who were present at the chamber event and witnessed the exchange between Hawk and Levine. He says these discussions resulted in a conclusion of there being an animated exchange but no direct physical contact. He wrote, quote, "I have discussed this matter with Mr. Levine and other members of the board of directors and can assure you that all parties are committed to creating an environment that yields more conducive interactions in the future." Wilson says Levine is intense and people are allowed to disagree with each other on the board.
Because Alan will disagree and he'll state his point and he will explain his point, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of being personally aggressive or harsh or anything of that nature, I've not observed that. I can't imagine what would possess a state representative to fabricate a story about the CEO of the local hospital.
Nolan includes in his letter he encourages Hawk to express his concerns with Ballad staff. Hawk tells us he stands by what he says happened that night. We reached out to Dr. Nolan for a comment on the situation, and he declined to speak with us today. You can read more comments surrounding this story right now on our website at WJHL.com.